All right, so the first one I want to go through is Bust a Beat. I suppose I could do a little Discord post. At everyone. Maybe I'll do at, yeah, I'll do it at everyone. Live now. Cool. And then I'll answer some chat questions if they exist. Otherwise, this will be fun to just look at later. So let's do empty project file. So, it is album release day. Yay. Kind of a micro album, but it really depends on your opinion on what the rules for albums are. But I had super awesome, amazing time writing it. And I won't go too much into that specifically unless there's questions, but I've been really enjoying the process that I've kind of developed and figured out through doing the Digital Artifice album for and with Turning Sound. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll talk more about that later, but I kind of want to get straight to the tracks. But one thing I always do, and I would suggest all producers do, is when you release a song or an album or whatever, make archival stems. So what I've got here that we're going to be going through today is, here's all the tracks. You should be able to see that, I think. And it's all the flattened stems, essentially. What's up, Matt Ryan? Thanks for tuning in. Feel free to ask questions. But yeah, what we've got here is essentially every single track and then all of the flattened stems. So they're kind of like future-proof in a way. So as long as there's a computer or some sort of device that can read WAV files in the future, I'll be able to recreate this track. So if it gets synced to a film in 10 years from now, or and they're just hey, take out that vocal and then here's your, $15,000 check. And so because I have all the stems here, I could do that for them. I also, if I switch screens here for a second, and let me know if my mic goes away, but on the left side here, this is FL Studio. There's this browser here. And so I have my sample packs and stuff, and I have Speedtek, and then I have a folder called track packs. So these are all just different project file names and things like that, but I have the full album should be here now, right here. And so if I'm writing a song, I can just grab the hi-hats from one of the tracks I already wrote, and then just get going faster. It's like having your own sample pack of yourself, which I think is super dope. Switch back over here. So what we're going to look at is the flattened stems. We're not going to look at every single plugin and, all of the routing necessarily, but feel free to ask questions about that kind of stuff. And I can kind of explain it. I'm thinking this is more like a compositional overview. And it'll just be a little insight, I remember when Pendulum or Knife Party back in the day would have a remix competition. Just even listening to and looking at the stems was a masterclass, So maybe this has the same vibes. And who knows, maybe I'll send this to some producers and maybe they'll want to remix it. But here's Bust a Beat. So kind of going off the cuff here and trying to figure out things that might be interesting. Something that'll come through in a lot of these tracks is breakbeat layering. So let's just poke around for a second and let me know if audio is messed up. It might be a little on the quiet side. I'm gonna put a limiter on here just because these are unmastered stems. So we'll look at each section as it shows up. Okay. So what makes up that part? We've got this brass pad. It's the main thing. I'm going to guess this is a lot of what started the track for me, is finding this pad and then just writing a little riff. A lot of times I start with drums, but I think with this album, I kind of started with either a weird sample that I would make work or some sort of pad that was inspirational. And then I would build around that essentially. And you notice this has a vinyl crackle sound. I think it's baked into the sample. I have no idea what the sample is. Let's do this though. it sounds almost like a part of the sample accidentally lingers on there. I'm not quite sure. But I've been kind of playing around with that, a little bit more messy, a little less perfection and clean, more like vibes. So there's that sound, and then it transforms. So in electronic music, you kind of have a change every 8 bars or so, or something like that. So, you know, right at the 8 bars. Oh yeah, I should put this in tempo. So let's move this BPM down to 128. So I think what I did is I used FL Studio's Hyper Chorus here. So some sort of chorus effect. And that's a common thing that I do. You'll notice it is like in intros, I'll start more mono and maybe a little bit lo-fi. So not a lot of highs, not a lot of lows. And then it will open up, so to speak, afterwards. So at this part, it starts a little more mono and then it makes it feel super wide. Playing with the stereo imaging can feel powerful, but it can also like give you more space for stuff. So sometimes I'll do that just to like create space. So like if I have a pad in the intro and a pad in the drop will probably be like high passed and wide. And in the intro, it'll probably be like more full with the frequencies in mono. We got a clap to keep time. Sometimes I literally call this DJ me. It's a weird sounding clap. We've got the vocal comes in. So it's a really intense vocal, and then it's got, I do this a lot. So hopefully this doesn't ruin it for you if you're a producer and you'll be like, man, he does this all the time. What up, Miguel? So I've got this in Shaper Box. You've got, I'll pull it up here. Like this liquid filter. You can just go like this and make some sort of like rising, falling, flangery, filtery, phasey kind of effect. And so I put that on this part here. So it probably comes down here. Oh, it just keeps going up. So I do that because you can turn anything into a riser by doing that. So you get this risery feeling, you know, it's like accelerating, building intensity, building the suspense and anticipation. Otherwise, the intro is pretty basic. Looks like the bongo plays off the clap. I like this sound that I found. So that's our transition sound to get to the next section. And I layered it with that vocal, just a vocal sample. And this one, I bet you can't, oh, you can hear this one, yeah. Music's hypnotizing, that's what it says. So you'll notice that that comes back in the drop. Now it's panning left and right. Now, what else happens at this 9 bar switch up? I just add a lot of stuff. So we add this to the percussion. That's a cool sound. Think break. Bust a beat keeps going. We got some riser stuff. Lots of little effects here. Scratching thing. Nice little transition. The more you can get good at these sort of things, especially if like, sometimes they can feel a little cliche. So if you can like get good at them and then make them sound more like in whatever style you're trying to do, it's powerful. It just leads the ear and the audience to know what's going on. The 90 string in there? When does that come in? Comes in there. Okay. All right, so it does that big build. I don't think there's much more to talk about there. I have on this album a lot of like drum fills with scratches on top. So here's a scratch. So here's a, and then a scratch. Because it just has this really old school sound. So then we go to the big synth. I believe I just built this from scratch in Citrus. Which I love this thing. And then, now there's some subtle things that happen there. You know, there's this flangery effect. There's a stereo effect. I believe I have one of those things where you've got the cutoff, and then it can separately have the cutoff at different settings for left and right headphone, I guess you could say. And then you'll notice a vibrato comes in right at the end there. And then we got this little clap fill thing. And then there's like a gate and a turntable stop. I use turntable stop all the time. I don't know. I like the sound of it a lot. Riser fallers, those all make sense. Think break comes in, vocal comes in. This kind of leads us, ties us into the drop here. So it's like a little like cross dissolve between the build up and the drop, essentially, instead of like a hard cut. Sometimes it's good to do a hard cut. I think, what's the name of the tune? I was just thinking about the project file name. Rippers has more of a hard drop sort of thing. So let's get to the drop now. So what does the drop sound like? It's getting slammed by the limiter because this is unmastered and there's no side chaining going on. So let's talk about drum layers. Well, yeah, I'll get to the bass line in a second. So we got a kick drum. So a lot of times what I'll do if I'm not building the beat from scratch is I will like take a bunch of sampled breaks, and that'll just like get me going, chop them up, do whatever. And at some point I'll replace or sidechain heavily to put in the place of the kick and the snare, because usually on these old breaks and things like that, they just don't have the punch we need for modern day, depending on what you're trying to do. And I like punch. I like things to be clear, and I like the drums to kind of hit you kind of hard, potentially. So I've got the kick drum. I replaced one here. And then I've got a little top kick, I guess. It's a little more tone to it. Kind of makes it sound old instead of like really new. It's almost like vengeance-y in a way, for those who know. Then we got loop A. Now, I like to use breaks in the wrong time, so you might hear that. Hopefully we'll find an example, but sometimes I'll shift a whole break over, or I'll make it loop in a really odd way. But because it's layered with other things, it just becomes interesting instead of being like weird. That one's a nice one. So you can hear all those play together. And you'll notice that this one's panned a little right, this one's panned a little left. So we got offbeat hi-hat. A lot of that in this album. Ride cymbal, essentially just to fill out the high frequencies and add sizzle and intensity. It's just like if you're on a drum kit and you're just like playing that crash cymbal during the chorus, that's the same effect. We got snare body. The snares I used on this album are like retro, but I like them. And there's a top, makes it a little more modern. I don't know if these change. A lot of times, you know, I'll do like an A, B, A, C sort of snare situation, but I don't think so. I think I'm relying on the break to make it interesting. So let's just listen to the breaks, the hi-hat, and the kick and snare. Yeah, you know. It does what it needs to do. I did some processing, clipping, and saturation, high passing, you can hear. I also render stems while I'm working, so I don't know how many, I could look it up, but at least once during every song, with the exception of Float. No, I did it on Float too. I will render stems of the whole song, just like we were talking about at the beginning about archival stems. Bring it back into a completely new session, and then finish the song as if I was remixing someone else's song. I love that technique. It's huge for my process. I find it super fun and freeing. So, you know, these have been through several stages of resampling, and that's what helps them get a little more chunky and saturated and in control, essentially. You can see that all these were clipped because there's a limit to where they stop, you know, a lot of times. Like when you zoom out, you can see, it's like, oh, I can see where maybe the top and the bottom of that might be. All right, bass line. A fun, interesting tidbit is that this song, and if you listen to like the infrasound mix or some other mixes, you'll notice that there's different versions of a lot of these album tracks, even different names. Right before I sent this to distro, aka uploaded it to DistroKid, I added this mid bass on top of the bass. So normally it's just like a distorted 808, which I actually can probably find, but whatever. That I made myself. I've used in a couple tracks. And then I added that like wobbly top square thing to it. You can hear it in the background like, woo. So a lot of what I like to do, because drum and bass is my favorite genre, and jump up drum and bass from like the 2000s is like my absolute favorite. I try to add those sort of energies and stuff in there. And what the problem I was trying to solve is that when I was listening to this, just like taking notes and thinking about finalizing everything, I was like, that first note hits, and then it's just like the rhythm stops. Like I felt like there was more rhythmic density needed. Like it just was like bum, 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 bum. And I was just like, I feel like I'm bored maybe. And so I added that to give it a little bit of the best of both worlds. So it's got that big sustain hit, but then it's got something on top that kind of gives it just a little more interest. And then this is the part, it's just the same 808, just kind of rolled off actually. And then here it's a square wave thing. Oh, here it is. This guy. With little note changes in there. So this says bassline OG, and that's because that's the stem. And then I actually rewrote the bass line again with the same patches in a new version. So like I wrote the song originally, made stems, brought it back into a new project file, and started writing again from scratch. And I just high passed this section and used it as a layer. And then let's skip over to the second drop bass line. I don't know if a lot of people have heard the second drops of these, but this is like a chopped version. So that's the same bass line as this. It just has different like infiltrator presets on it to like, and that's my favorite plugin. So anyone who knows that is gonna like take a shot every time I say infiltrator. Infiltrator 2 by Devious Machines, but it's a like a baseline preset thing of that I've tweaked, resampled, and rearranged. This is like a little techno stab or something? No. It's just the same thing, only reversed. Look at that one stem, that's all that's in there. So that's all that is. And then the song switches from major to minor, essentially, which I'm really proud of right there. Can I show that example? I mean, like, so you start off with this sort of major-y sounding thing. And then by the time you get to the second drop, this is the vibe. So that copies the bass line. In a way. And I love that the song starts in like one key and kind of modulates. Like it's just not that common in electronic music. And I think that this one does it in a way that's not going to mess with everything, you know. It's still very clubby. I tried to really ride the line between like musical and clubby. In this middle section, this is the last part, and then we'll move on. So you got A, B, C, and then D, essentially. So what makes this section unique is you back off the bass, and by backing off the bass, the reason I did that is because I wanted to add a bunch of like melodic content. So on top, we've got the 90s string, which I use a ton, basically jungle music and rave. Same brass pad, just chopped. What's this? Think break. Oh, and then the vocals come in. This song is thinner than I thought. I mean, it's like just as fat as it needs to be. But you can hear how that's different than... All right, if there's any questions about this track, let me know fast. Otherwise, let's pull up another one. But that's Bust a Beat. And this one, it just feels like I knew this had to open the whole thing. This big synth section is I love this so much. And this energy is a lot of what I've been shooting for, at least at this present moment, where it's like, it just feels like a breath of fresh air. I kept joking that like the synth feels like a cold glass of orange juice on a crisp morning. So that's what it feels like to me. I don't know what it feels like to you. Let's go to empty. Let's pull up the next song, Leather Bag. There it is. Tempo 130. Oop. Now this one was kind of hard to wrangle, but I think I got it in the end. I was just struggling getting everything to sound exciting, but full, like sharp, but not too sharp, all that kind of stuff. So let's just check it out a little bit. Let's do it the same way. So in this album, I did a lot of finding really old samples, which is super fun. So if you're ever wondering like where the samples are from, it's just like either old songs or old sample packs. Or I just made stuff. I love it. Okay. All right. So you got this vocal. Basically, this whole part right here is just to make it so that when I use the vocal later, it didn't come out of nowhere. I'm sort of setting the precedent, like, there's a vocal that sounds like this, you know? It's not necessarily the focus. Honestly, like, pretty much nothing's the focus in this intro. It's, like, supposed to be just, like, kind of the vibes. I like to do intros that sound like they're a real place. So you've got some, like, Foley sounds. I don't know or remember what these are from, but it instantly makes you feel like you're in a real place, you know? My thought was it's like you were walking and you happened upon a boombox when you were like next to a park or something, and then the song comes out of the boombox. So this is just a lot of the drums from the drop, but through automation, I've like high pass, low pass, distorted, turned them down to de-emphasize them so that when the drop hits, they sound nice and full. That's a really classic thing I have to tell a lot of students. It's like, they're like, how come my drop doesn't sound big? It's like, well, because you used the full range big drums on your intro. That's definitely a chopped break. I doubt that that was the actual rhythm of it originally. You just hear it looping. Yeah, let's just go to the drop here. You can hear it loop. It doesn't matter, as long as it fits in the... when the whole thing's playing and it's like a good layer, then it's good. Got this weird percussion-y, phasey thing. A lot of transient response. Like reverbs and stuff on the side. Kind of full sounding. Ride cymbal. Okay. I don't remember that, but that's fine. What's drum effects? Okay. Little glitchy things. Used a lot of that kind of stuff, actually. A little, lead up into something. Here's probably the main break. Yeah. See, when you're hearing this song, I don't think most people think of the break as like tickety ticketa, tickety ticketa, tickety ticketa, tickety, you know, but that's what this break's doing. Oh, and I use this blip a lot. Let's just listen to some of this aux percussion-y stuff. We got our perk loops. Body snare. Extra snare. Get the kick drum. So you can really hear it come to life. Now check this snare thing out. So sometimes it hits with the snare, and sometimes it hits without it. Which is interesting, because it's like I've set up a conceit here where it's like, this is what the snare drum sounds like. But then I use the top without it, which gives it kind of the effect of hitting the snare drum lightly, in a way. Got some velocity differences there, volume differences in your snares. Like having volume differences in your drums is really important. And then the bass line is this like respace sample thing that like, so when you're looping things in a sampler, you can have it play from the beginning to the end and then go back to the beginning and play like that. You can have it like ping pong essentially, which is what this is doing. It plays to the end and then it goes back and plays in reverse and plays to the beginning and then goes like back and forth like this. And there's other ways to loop as well. So this one's going like essentially. Now it's just low passed. And then at the second drop, it's doing the same thing, but I had to do a lot of other stuff. I did the same thing where I put Infiltrator on it, but then I added more distortion, and then I added like high frequency tones into the bassline distortion so that they would have these like weird harmonics, and ended up sounding super cool. And I had resampled it so I could chop it around and stuff like that. So that's how that kind of worked, but that ended up being really cool. I just wasn't quite sure what I was going to do for the second drop, but that ended up sounding really sick. We've got in the drop here, the chords come back. Now we got this part, which is brand new. So this part, I'm surprised it stayed. I like it a lot now, and it's kind of a signature of the song. It's like a part that people sing on the dance floor, I've noticed. But even though it hasn't been out that long, it just is. It felt a little too old grime or something. I'm not quite sure, but I think through just pushing and keeping to work on it and layering, I ended up getting it to work. So we've got this chord. String hit. It sounds bad by itself. Then we got this guy, which is like an old rave stab. So you can hear it degrading as it plays around. When you layer them together, you can kind of hear it. Yeah, a little bit. It's essentially just adding more notes, like chord extensions and stuff, which I try to do a lot. The bass line is just low passed, I'm pretty sure. Where's the little thing that kind of made this whole part work? Is it this? Nope, this? There's a little thing that kind of like, is it this? Well, there's a 90s string again, which I use a lot. It's this guy. No, it's this guy. So that's a transgate on like a riser. I did this part on stream, but it was on Discord stream, so I'm not exactly sure. But here is what the chords, bass line, and melodies, everything except the drums, essentially. This is what this sounds like. You get the chords again. It's a different version of it, quieter. Yeah, so this is like a bit crush. And even just different notes. It's very loose with chord extension keys and all that kind of stuff, and I'm loving the heck out of that. So there's weird notes and tones, but I'm all about it. And then lastly here on drop C, even though there's a drop D, I guess, we get the departure little old school sounding section that I like a lot. So what is this? Low passed wobbly synth thing sample that I got. This is just an 808. Yep. Little classic Andrew call-in response between basses. I often get the comment that it sounds like my basses are talking back and forth to each other. Just having a conversation. And I must have done like a reverse of it. I think this is a new sound. Forwards and backwards. So backwards first. Yep. Very Turnian sounding wob there. Let me go to the breakdown. Yeah, that's that tune. Let's move on. I was trying to keep this to an hour, and I think we're going to go a bit over. Empty. Boop. What's next? Got Rippers next. This is 107 BPM. Which I forgot to change before importing, but it's not a big deal. Oh, weird. Sorry, I'm just checking something quick. Okay, cool. Minimize. Okay, 107. I'm really glad that these tunes made the cut. This is very new for me, doing this kind of stuff. But I was really like, I'm sort of just like following, letting the session be whatever it becomes. Long story short. So, I'm finding a sample that's fun or inspiring, I'm messing with it, and I'm just following that path wherever it goes. Eventually you have to put on your like editing, finalizing hat if you want to do whatever, but I'm trying to just like respect whatever is in the moment, So that's where a lot of these kind of tunes came from, but they're super fun, and like it makes more sense to me now, but I almost don't want to have it make sense to me. I want to like keep the magic, So let's just listen for a second. Get that limiter going again. I don't know why I set up a second camera, but here's second camera. Ooh. Okay. What's going on here? I basically I gotta set the track up somehow, Like, this, sometimes I'll start with an intro, but rarely. I'll usually start with like some sort of core content of the song, Oh, what up, Steven? How's it going? I had a little blip there. I was like, Steven? Are we Steven? Do you have a new nickname? I do have more cameras, by the way. I could bring them in. But it's good to see you. So this track, it started with this. So then you basically take this raw materials in a way, or some other things that maybe didn't make the cut of the drop, but they're still in the session, and then try to see if you can mangle them into an intro, And a lot of times, like, I'll feel, I'll hear something, and I'll go that direction, but not always. So I think this piano lick, that's right, that's what happened. So I don't have, like, a journal about this stuff. I have to just try to remember. We got Matt. Yeah, glad you like this one. This one's very much just funky walking down the street. That's what it sounds like to me. Like you're walking your dog, but it's real funky. So this piano beat was originally the whole start of the track. It was supposed to be like a serious piano hip-hop thing, Like where it's just playing the same chord over and over again. And then now I changed it to have like a little bit of a chord progression, you could say. And to keep this little thing interesting, you'll hear, so it comes in, and then it does these little like vibrato things to just try to give it a little flavor. Like that. It's an automation. A little clicking there. Why not? So I don't remember exactly what did that. You can do that with Shaper Box. You can do it with other things. But it was getting all wiggly. We've got, what else? Basically, you take the lightest versions of your aux percussion and try to throw them on the intro and see if they fit. So we got... This one's got some really fun, tasty, high-end things. Like, this is, I think, what makes the track, honestly. So this is definitely like an effect. But this is what it sounds like in the drop. But that's those tinkly, tingly little high-end things. It almost sounds like if you're holding marbles, and you know how they like, sometimes they rub together and it makes like a little weird, people probably hate kind of sound or feeling. That's what I get from that, especially right at the end there. Ugh! I like almost don't like it, but it makes the track sound super like high fidelity and interesting. And then they play off this. So that's in there. What's this guy? This is fun because I don't remember what's in these tracks. So that's the blips. Is this the blip? Let's just do all the weird stuff. What's this Rhodes doing? Oh yeah. Of course. It's so jazzy. I think this is a thing. That's definitely like what I would consider motif material. So this is like a samba drum break from who knows when, probably like the 70s or 60s or something, resampled. But it becomes to me like something that anchors the track. Like this call and response honestly feels like a big part of the track. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Like that, the way this all works together. And then I got the vocals. What other weird stuff can I put in there? Ooh, this little glassy thing. Nice. What is this? Oh yeah. This sound is cool. Oh, that sounds like more loft dub. Yep. So I'll show this really quick. Hold on. If we go to my other side, and we go to, I think if I just type loft. So the, I might, no, it's going to be too hard to find. But I found the original resamples. I think what we did in Turnian Sound is we had a lot of resampling sessions, and we would like record things and like circuit bend things or whatever, like take like a electromagnetic microphone or something. I think that's what it's called, where it basically picks up electric magnetism and turns it into audio. So you can hold it up to like a Wi-Fi router and it'll make weird noises. We had some sort of device that I think we were next to Moto Crane, which is a company that does cinematic cranes that mount to cars and stuff. And they had some sort of device that we were allowed to test or mess with. And then we recorded that, chopped it, and that eventually became the top of Turnian Sound loft dub. Like, ooh, ah, ooh, that weird sound. And I used it at least twice on this album. So I think that's what this is. Hold on. You can hear it. Right there, I can hear it. But that has this kind of cool, you know, interplay with everything else that's going on. So really, I'm skipping past the intro because it's basically just all the stuff from here anyway, only like mangled, stretched out, downsampled, whatever, so that it's like less exciting, edgy, and full of energy, more like we're coming off like a dream or something, and then the drop comes in and hits hard. So that's just kind of how I do my stuff. I really love this thing. So this is played in live. Literally just me being like, like being loose and like there's no quantizing. That's just the same thing pitched down. That's just me playing some synth like that and recording it, which is super fun. And then we got this reverse chord thing. I don't know what that's from, but it's dope. I love this sample. The fact that I got away with using this and people can take it seriously makes me so excited. But it works! It's just a vibe. Like you can, I hope that it comes through. I think that's why it's fun and like why people like it. Is like I was having a hell of a time making it, and that's like what I've been trying to do in the DAW in the studio lately. That's why I'm following where the samples feel like they want to go, letting the session go where it wants to go. Because I'm prioritizing like having a great time, you know? And then I kind of hope that that comes through on the tracks, essentially. Another vocal sample that's super random. I think he's saying, well, I rippers who, what is it again?
Well, I'm rippers who cripple their brothers and sisters.
Rippers who cripple their brothers and sisters.
Well, I'm rippers who cripple their brothers
Don't steal tracks, okay?
and sisters. Rippers who cripple their brothers and sisters. Rippers who
Now, the reason I use that sample is because the rhythm. This rhythm is sick. So you've got the original song. But then on top of it, you got ta 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 ta, and it's just a sick groove. And anytime I can do like polyrhythmic, like 3/4 kind of stuff or whatever, like groups of 5, quintuplet kind of things, like totally down. I think it sounds super sick. Let's look at the bass line. So we've got this guy. Wait for it. Looks like we've got a Reese top to that so that it has a little more aggression and more tone. A lot more. The bit crust Reese that's also panning left and right. I don't remember doing that. It's cool, but that together they sound like... The thing that I think makes it for me is this thing. It's a classic. I love using shaky basses like that, and it's a distorted... But the way that groove plays together is sick. Oh, we gotta put the Rhodes in there. Because you'll see how every slot is kind of filled, but because it's all different tone sounds and different articulations and stuff, it doesn't sound like bop, 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 bop. It's interesting. What happens here? Sub drop. So that sub drop goes with this thing. Make that more exciting. Gets a little wobble. And then it also removes some of its high tones so that the vocal can come in and be more clean. And then kind of same thing. Just like opening up, less wobble. And this I have like a scratching, glitchy, gatey thing. I think this preset is even called Tipper. Just funny. And lastly, let's just look at the drums one more time. So we've got, because I don't think we actually looked at that yet. So we got kick drum. It's a very old school sounding kick drum, very sampled. You'll notice that the first kick has all its high frequencies and the rest of them have a bit reduced. You can do that with FL pretty easy. You can go to your sample and automate the X parameter on like the last page of your sampler, and it automatically is assigned to like a low pass. And then we got, where's like our main break? This guy? Probably what I started with. And then we got Well, weird hi-hat. What's this hi-hat? A little more standard. There we go. Yes. That's nice. Big triangle fan. So there's a little body snare. What's this guy? Okay, kind of a big thwack, kind of almost like boom bap hip hop. And then we got fill snare. Oh, you know what? I should have high passed that. There's a lot of sub in that. Wonder if that made the cut. It probably did. So let's layer a lot of these drums together. We got that samba thing, we got the shaker. What's this guy? Scratch, we'll put it in there. No, that's not. Kick drum. Yeah, that's how that one works. But yeah, I think that song's really successful. It's super fun. Let's check out the next one. I still don't remember like the order. Oh, I'm sorry. I had you on the wrong screen that whole time. Well, you can use your ears. My bad. It's like, am I supposed to see something? You guys gotta tell me. Okay. Sick Flow is the next one. This is another one that I really worked on a lot. Oh, whoa, I didn't know you could do that in Windows. 135, yeah. This one almost didn't make the cut, but I'm glad it did because it's super fun to play. It has like the energy I'm looking for. I bet you I'm gonna write another song someday that's gonna be similar. That'll be like the perfected form of this, but get that limiter on here. Nice, I'm glad you like Sick Flow, because I'm worried that like not as many people like it. I don't know. I think it's dope. I love the like go energy. That's the intro. All right, let's look around. So you'll notice, again, my intro is like a little more mono, a little more dry. Not entirely dry, you know, but like if you're listening to this, and then what happens here? An automated reverb turns on at 17. So that's that kind of progression again, where it's like the difference between like dry, close, and intimate, scratchy like sandpaper, and then like wet, lush, wide, farther away. Like there's all these little tools you can use to like direct the listener in interesting ways. I also added a lower layer here. So it's not just this. There's this sound. Wow, that's not what I expected it to sound like. That's so cool. But together, I've just been loving doing that kind of stuff. Like I haven't even accounted for all the notes. There might be some out of key notes, but like as long as I like it, I don't care. And there's this little timekeeping wob wob. What else is in this build up? An echoey thing. Okay. Gotta like increase the size here so I can see what's here. Up the go is back there. How come it changes over time? It's like I don't know. Cool. I don't remember putting those like blah sounds in there. Cool. Okay. And then in the build up, I just needed something else because it really loops a ton. It's just dun 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 dun. So I've got this thing that comes in that it's basically a lead that acts as a riser. And like the notes, so it's a riser, but it's like it's quantized like an electron around a nucleus. So it can't just like slide, it goes to the next level or whatever. And I think it's like 1511. So octave, fifth octave, higher octave or something like that is what that's doing. But it's acting as a riser alongside the riser. And what do we got in the drop? So there's this weird chunky thing. It's fun to hide stuff like this in the tracks because I think it adds like, it's like a rhythmic thickener. So when you're thinking about like a rock band, you got like the lead guitar and the rhythm guitar. The rhythm guitar is like telling you what's the tonal landscape we're living in, and then what's the like tempo and groove, you know? And so sometimes these kind of act that way. It's not really meant to be heard at all. It's kind of meant to be like felt and to build like, you know, close the gaps on certain things. Like when other things would stop maybe. This one's interesting. It's got these distorted drums that maybe not even in key. That's behind the whole thing. Then we got classic, very clean analog electro breaky thing. That sounds like a splice sample, honestly. Little echoey thing. Very dubsteppy. Little crash cymbal at the drop, of course. Drum fills all the time. That one's a little better. I used a lot of like, just like Turnian did, we use a lot of like Fink breaks and other like breaks you would normally hear in jungle or drum bass as drum fills. Hype Fox. Bassline, of course. I had to like redo this like 3 times to get the punch I wanted. That's close enough. Snare bottom. Little fill. Nice. Snare top. Wow, I got away with that snare, huh? I would change it now. Good enough. Classic. Keeps you dancing. People probably don't hear this. If you listen to the end of the song as it goes out, you'll hear this more. It's just going on through the whole song. You just don't really hear it, kind of thankfully. Yeah, together, this plus some of the other weird things that happen during the drop, like, gives it sounds to me like someone's screaming in the background, like nu metal screaming, or like Linkin Park high-pitched kind of scream, like right when the drop hits. I don't know if you can hear it, it's pretty subtle. It's like boom, boom. I don't know what it is because I poked around on it the other day, and I just couldn't find it. But that's what's kind of building this track out, and then a lot of different like effects and things like that. What up, Shark Cam? How's it going? We're just checking out some of these tunas. Oh yeah, I got that cool DJ vocal sound. DJ. So there's another break, layering with this break, layering with the distorted drums. So you can see it's got a ton of layers, and when we go look at Sabretooth, you'll see there's even way more. What are these? Huh. What else we got? What happens here? Here's a part that I didn't think would make the cut. But either I ran out of ideas or it made the cut. I always thought of it as a placeholder. So we've got this like more grimy, as in like modern grime, because the 808 like slides around a little bit. So very tonal. You'll notice that like I do this sometimes where it's like the drop is like one note essentially. So it's like hold the pedal tone, you know, like hold the root. And then when we need to depart for a second to get a little relief from that loopiness or whatever, we'll break out into more of the chord progression, the melodic, and then we'll come back to something that's less melodic. So this is another like third drop, ABC kind of drop, but focus on this for a second. We got, where's my silly string patch? So there's the leads here. So that reusing that riser thing. Little new version of the intro stab. Here's the strings. And it's got like a weird distorty, bit crushy, gatey kind of effect to it. So together, you can see how once they layer, they don't sound so thin and weird. They feel like they kind of fit, but you gotta have all the elements. And then we go to this part. So that's supposed to sound super old school and be kind of just like the big moment of the track, essentially. So I added this bell break. This guy. I just think that sounds super sick. Now, I probably could have made that with like a go-go bells or whatever. I think that would have been a little better, but it worked. Different 808. Oh, the last thing, this sound, it's on one of like a really old school synth with a lot of dumb sounds. And I think like if you can make dumb sounds sound really cool, you're onto something. Now I'm not saying this is really cool, but I like that I was able to fit this in. So this is just like a thing that happens in the track. And then it pitches down and it gets low frequencies. So I can consider it like a faller. But it's like a synth preset you would never really use. But here's how it sounds in context. I was very happy to be able to use that. And sometimes those random sounds, like sometimes you'll drag a sample into a project file and it will just be like, oh, I forgot that was there and it just randomly played, but then it ends up like opening your mind to a possibility that you would never have done on purpose, you know? So that's kind of like what that sound did. All right, the next one is No Name Tune. This is one of the oldest as far as like when they were created on the album. So 128 beats per minute. If not one of the first. I think it might be the first one I wrote. Let's use camera 2 for a second. This one's got a nice vibe. So let's look at it. I think this one really, it's the break that's doing the heavy lifting. So I believe that's this guy. Nope. Yeah. So whatever this break is, I have no idea. I don't know if I chopped it up. I don't know if I just used it. It's an old break, but it's got so many nice things going on already. I think I remember I sliced it slightly, but not a ton. But that is the tune. That's what started the tune. I built all around that. I added this weird loop to add some punch. Like, that sounds bad by itself, but when you mix everything together, it kind of adds what I needed. Now, do I even have a kick outside of that? No. There's no redone kick drum in this, which is so weird. So that's why that sounds so weird and bad. Here's a snare layer I added. Now, I think I did some heavy side chaining to get different things cut through, and that's not happening on this right now. So you're hearing just the stems straight up. The other kind of anchor of this song, of course, is this weird thing. So it sounds like he's saying blindfold. I'm not exactly sure what it's from. My wife and I joked that it's just a guy saying Michael. Michael. So that's what it is. That's canon now. But that, it's just like, you know, these sounds are giving me certain like feelings or like visions of different places and times and stuff like that. And so the loop plus that vocal, I think, really set this tune off. And then I think I tried a whole bunch of different bass lines and was just like, you know what? This track can just be minimal. It sounds really cool. It's a good groove. So I've got this bass line. Yeah, it's totally... a lot of this stuff would be sick to have B-boys dance to. This is just an 808 sent through like a clipper, essentially. It sounds way dumber without the drums, but that part is super cool. Then we got these sounds, which are pretty important. I mean, the more minimal it is, the more like these effects and stuff are going to be very important, you know? There's just like a little groove made out of riser echo things that aren't even perfectly in time. That's like a little motif that always happens at the end of the bar. I think this is like a rain stick or something, or a shaker. Oh. Very old school, almost like spaghetti western sounding thing. Tambourine. Giving you the groove. Now the trumpet's really interesting in this. I need something for this section. I don't even know if these are fully... They're in key somehow, probably, but I don't know. So it goes to this section where like the Rhodes piano hits. It's just a sample of electric piano. Oh. And this weird sound behind there. Also, what is this? Wow. I forgot that's in there. That's nice. Good job, past me. What are these things? Oh yeah. So here's the trumpet. It's two samples that are supposed to sound like one trumpet. Yeah, you'll notice that the beginning just has the electric piano just playing one chord. That's all it's doing. Little and then that's where it breaks out. So it's like, you know, you make a section, you find something that feels like the core of the track, and then you build around it, and then as you need to flush the rest of the track out, maybe dig inside the track itself and mangle things rather than finding new samples, you know. But that's kind of how this one came together. I've got these important like motific sounds. So I've got this ding, 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 and then where's like the metal hits? These guys. Those are more important, I think, than maybe it feels when you're just listening to the track. But to me, that is very important to like the groove of the track and like the signature. And I love the way that this works with the break. It's like boom, ba, doodle, doo, bam, bam. Like, where's the break? I think it's this guy. Is it not that? Is it this? Oh, it's the bongos, of course. That's sick. Got like a little bongo thing with like a clave and a shaker. That's funny. Those are totally offbeat there a little bit. It's natural. This is just me figuring out that certain stuff is just straight up wrong with the track. And then this weird like scratching sample. I just chopped that around basically. But yeah, that's that tune. And you know, it was developing into all sorts of different directions and stuff like that. And then I just stripped it back and I was like, this is all it needs. One funny part, without going into too many details, is the reason it's called No Name Tune is because I'm going off of like vibes from The Man with No Name, because I like spaghetti western vibes. And so I was going to sample like Clint Eastwood, The Man with No Name, Good, Bad, the Ugly, and stuff like that. And so I had a sample. I don't want to play it. I could find it maybe, but like it's a quote from the movie. And I didn't realize, but when you just listen to the quote and what it was saying, sometimes in electronic music, we're like thinking about the rhythm and the attitude of the vocals, not necessarily like the words. And so when I sat down and I actually listened to it, it sounded super like dark, like really depressed dark. And I was like, not exactly the message I'm trying to convey. If that was the message I was trying to convey, sure, totally cool. But it wasn't. It was basically like, don't you value your life? And he's like, I don't value something I never had or something. I was like, geez, okay. No, let's not do that. Okay, so the next one is Sabretooth. I love this track. I really, really love this track. Struggled with this one, getting the snare really was the biggest struggle. I'm not gonna say I'm perfectly happy with the snare, but it ended up in a place I was comfortable with overall. This tune is just so jam-packed and loaded with so many things. It was hard to like pull it off, honestly. Let's listen for a second. Switch up. I just think it's so sick. It's so sick. This is the track that part of me wished that no one commented that they liked it, just because I like it so much that I think this is one of the tracks, like the only tracks I think I've ever written that I like literally don't care if anyone doesn't like it. Like, I like it that much. I couldn't exactly tell you why. It's something about the energy of the whole tune. And I got some feedback from different producers and professionals and stuff like that. A little bit of fan feedback, mostly just like watching people while I play it. And they all had ideas, and I was like, no, it's not right. So we got this sound. It's like the signature little reverse thing. And then for a while, that's all I had for the intro. And it was a lot longer, but it was too thin. And so I added this Reese thing underneath. Swells. And it goes down. And I added this break. Because originally it was the pad and then like a little dinky break. Watch out on the... Good girl. She's about to knock everything down. Sorry if you hear my dog drinking water. She's gonna be doing this for a while. Oh, the gate is getting rid of most of it. Okay, good. So we got that. We've got this thing. You can sample Futurama. I haven't run into any legal problems with sampling. A lot of what I'm doing right now is using samples, and I consider a lot of what I'm writing right now as collage. But a lot of the samples I'm using are like splice or sold by artists or things like that, or like old sample packs, old sample CDs when that was a thing. Computer Music Magazine stuff from like, I don't know, 2007 or something. So as long as you're like changing things up, layering, making it obscure, all that kind of stuff, it doesn't really matter. Like film quotes and stuff like that, it just never really comes up. Now, if one of these tracks went to #1 or something, or like a rapper got on it or something, like a Harlem Shake situation, I guess, like someone could come after you, but it's really not a thing in electronic music. Like we've been sampling forever. All the genres do it basically. Hip hop is created from sampling and all that kind of stuff. So it's like kind of honoring that tradition, and I really like writing that way. I think I went to sound design and synthesizers for a long time, and it just like is just not as fun. So what I do now is like I will have sessions where I do sample making sessions. So I can like open up a synth, make cool sounds or whatever, or like even in a session, if I use a synth, I'll record it to audio as fast as I can and then use it in a sampler because I find it more fun. So yeah. But if you were going to take like a melody line from like Futurama's intro, like down, 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 right? Down, 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 with like those big bells or whatever. I think that's what it is. If you made the crux of your song a sample of those bells, very clearly those bells, you could maybe get in trouble, you know? But none of the stuff I'm doing is like ripping anything off or taking their idea or motif. It's all chopped. And when it comes to like drums and stuff, like it's really hard to know if that's someone who made a sample close to your sample or the actual sample that you created or sampled from some thing. Like we just don't hear drums that way, you know? It's easier for us to hear melodies and stuff, but it's a good question. It does come up a lot. This like panther, cougar, saber-tooth growl thing is really, really fun. Someone told me to take it out, and I was like, that is what makes me love this track even more, is that stupid growl that I love. Where is it? Is it this? Yeah. It's so sick. Okay, it's just built into the percussions. That's actually a little annoying for if anyone's going to remix, but that's fine. Get good, that's what I say. Okay, then it goes to this build up. I really like, I've never really done a build up like this. A lot of times when I'm writing, like I said before, like I think of it like you're walking down a hallway and like I open up a door to my right and there's a closet. And so, you know, closet sounds very confined and dark and reflective. no reverb. It doesn't sound like a gymnasium. And you walk a little farther down the hall and you open up a small door and you realize that there's a giant cave behind it. Like, so all these are like trying to create acoustic spaces, essentially. So this is like, I don't know, you're either like thrown down a pit or like underwater or in space or something all of a sudden. You're like this falling feeling. So I got this sample. It's like from a guitar. And then this on top of it. So this one's going up. That one's going down. Got the vocal coming in. I love that vocal. So 80s sounding. Okay, let's get to this now. So this is a weird bass line. Oh, is it playing it twice? Because I rendered the stems so that you could... Maybe it's not. Okay. So this is a weird, controversial sound. This was made... Controversial as in it's just not typical, is what I mean. It's like a old rock sound, like an 80s rock guitar sound mixed with like two other things and a bass line. And then it's just pitched down, slightly changed. To me, it sounds like a different kind of Reese. Like, I just really love it. But getting that inside of the track was difficult. And then you got these like other motific sounds, like, so, you know, again, the bass line's talking to itself. It's like bum bum digga dip, bum 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 digga dip, bum 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 digga dip. That's like the whole thing. Just this like 808, 303 kind of, a 303 thing. A different one. I forgot to mute that. God, there's so many things. Ideally, what I would have done, hold on, is muted this. So you get extra power. I'll just pretend I did that. And there's a different one. And I use sounds like that a lot. They're just like 303 loops from an old sample pack. Like there's a bunch of samples from sample packs that have just weird 303 like they're called like acid synth lines and stuff. And so you can just chop them up and use them as like fills and stuff. What does this guy sound like? Yeah. That one sounds so sick. Oh yeah. There's like a hi-hat in there, like oh, weird. And then it goes to this section. So you'll start to notice, like, and there's a reason I'm kind of going faster now too, is that I got a style and I got like tricks that I use. So we've got the high jungle string again. Without it, it sounds like this. I love this, but this is basically like, I'm thinking about energy levels. This whole section is like 11 out of 10. Like energy is very high. It's very all over the place. There's a lot for you to digest. It's like, you need to cool down a little bit. So that's what this is trying to do here. And then you got, instead of it being like bum, 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 the bass line's like da-goon, da-goon, da-goon. I got this on top. Plus, this sound is sick. Not even necessarily in key with this, but when they go together, it kind of works. You put that with the 808. Then it goes to the big grind bass. With this cool vocal thing. do another one here. Oh, it's just this without the chord. All right, let's look at what else we got here. We haven't really looked at the drums yet. Oh, we haven't done this yet either. I love these old stupid samples.
Funky music.
So there's just a computer that says funky music every once in a while on this. Oh, that's where that fill went. Eh. Okay, let's look at the drums. We got a kick. Not a lot of low. What does this kick do? There's a lot of kick drums in this song. Here's a break D. Ooh. See, when you hear these breaks, like I've been saying over and over again, like that doesn't sound like the groove of the song, but when it's all together, it is. That's not my experience of the song, you know? Let's put those together, and let's just check out the breaks. For each different section, another break comes in. So now this guy comes in. Just adding some energy, plus this guy. Plus this. So that's the vocal chop, but I don't need to put that in there. We go to a new section again, which means we get new breaks. So you can use, this is a jungle technique. So jungle, especially made on like trackers and stuff like that. I mean, they didn't have a lot of channels and layers and stuff, so they had to do whatever they could to make the song interesting over time, which a lot of time is like chopping and stuff like that. But you'll find in drum and bass and jungle and stuff like that, like they'll distinguish different moments and sections by just having different breaks. And that's probably on like the tracker, they did like a control change or something, like to swap what sample is being referenced or something. But it just makes you feel like you're in a new section without being like, the bass line is all I can do to change, you know, the feeling of being somewhere else. Yeah, this is a 4 on the floor beat. Plus. Another break comes in. The spider. Sorry, spider. So there really are a lot of breaks in this one. Very big beat feeling to me. I love this thing. So stupid. And I use stupid a lot. Like, I love all this kind of stuff. But what I mean by that is like it's either silly or weak or not what you would normally think of as like, wow, cool, you know? And so I get joy out of the fact that like you can hide those things or use those things to make something cool. I think that's basically it on this one. Yeah, that's the tune. It went through a lot of different iterations, but I am happy with it. Boop. All right, next up. We're getting there. So now we're on Float, the dubstep tune. This one, what I like about it is that I did, you know, like I was saying, I did samples for like most of the other tracks. Here's where I've got the different layers. Mute those. This one though, it's just a brand new baseline preset. And then when I did the second drop, it's from scratch kind of stuff or whatever. So it's not that I like avoid, well, I do avoid synthesis, but it's not that I don't know how or I don't utilize it. It's just less fun, you know? So I think when I was making this, I was thinking about infrasound and I was like, I'm going to just go back to my roots and make a bass line in Citrus, which is a FL Studio synthesizer. And I use Citrus a lot for turning sound. And I was like, I'm just going to see if I can make a gnarly bass line, you know? And I believe it was just one of those days where everything just worked. Like you just, every knob you turn, you're just like, yeah, you know? So this one sounds like this. I mean, it's got this motif. The riser is actually a motif of the song. I love the vocal too. Just that attitude, you know, like the whole, like, the reason it's called Float is because I'm imagining people just like bouncing on the dance floor to it. Like that's the whole thought, is like people are just bouncing. And just that K sample, I just really, really love. K. I don't know what it's actually from. K. He probably said like KO or something, who knows? That's probably spliced or something, I'm not quite sure. But yeah, let's just focus right on the bass line right away. So this is Citrus. I could probably pull up that project file, but it's just FM synthesis. Let me pull up Citrus so you guys could see it if you've never seen it before. So it's got 6 operators, aka oscillators, and then it's got an FM section. So when I turn this, it feeds operator 2 back into operator 1, you know? So you get like a sound like this. So we've got a sine wave. If I make this really low. So you can make really cool stuff with that. And then it's got like filters and all sorts of stuff. You can move these things. Yeah, does a lot of stuff. Kind of neat. That's that. Let's listen to what this bass line does. This is something I forgot about till I listened to it earlier, which is the bass goes I forgot about that. Little tone switch. Little respace thing. That's samples. Very vocal kind of moment there. It's got the scream, it's got a low sub bass, it's got a wobble, and it's got like a munching mouth. And that low passes. Oh no, this is where it kind of goes into this like old school wobble version. And then the second drop, in case people haven't heard it yet, much different. So this, I was trying to get it like a little bit Simula-y, in that it's got these like stereo crunchy like sounds. In fact, I think it's this right here. Let me unmute it quick. Yeah, and then I've got this like broken glass or seashells thing layer on top of it. You can hear the little trinketsy, almost sounds like glass. And then underneath it is this whistling, screaming thing. It sounds like a car peeling out. You put it together, but then you distort them together and you get... It's got like white noise in there. I think it sounds really kind of sick, actually. So I want to like save those and use them in the future. But that's how those were built. We got our main break. That's probably just a break beat that I recut up. What is bubble? Oops. Yeah, you never really hear that. It's back there though. This is definitely like a motif of the song. Keeps you going through the whole thing. We got hi-hat. Little trill thing, essentially. Like later it does more of the like trill things. There you go. Kick. Okay, big kick, open hat. So this is on the 1 and the 3. Boom. Gah, boom. So you can hear it. Just gives you that dubstep stomp, like right, left, right, left. Snare drum. Bang. 808 plus other weird things. A little bit of mono reverb. I can hear a person. Na-na-na. Very different sounding song. It's pretty simple. You'll notice this has way less channels. Granted, like I could have like split some of these out more. But that's that one, you know, and it's just like, I guess just like decent hook songwriting, you know. I've always been good at hooks. It's like, I'm comfortable saying that because I've been doing this for 20 years and that's just what people say. So everything's got kind of its place and they're talking to each other and there's a lot of repetition and stuff like that, but it makes it like digestible essentially. But you can kind of see the density here. You know, this happens every time there. This happens in sort of that sort of pattern. What else kind of happens, you know? But I think that's everything for that track. Keep her moving. Let's go to Stint, 92 beats per minute. Boop. This one I'm proud of them all, but I'm proud of this one too. Felt really out of my comfort zone. And it's got like this West Coast gnarly bass line thing. There's that blip again. Cool. Yeah, I think that one's super cool. So this started all from this sample. I believe, if I remember correctly, I may have written this on stream. I can't remember, like just a Discord thing, which I could link the invite to the Discord. Every once in a while I just stream production in there and you can like talk to me and stuff. I guess I should link that. You'll find it. Hit me up, DM me if you want it. There's two competing themes and this one won out in a way. Yeah, there's even a little click in there, but it's a longer melodic sample that I've just chopped so that it has this sort of push-pull to it. And that push-pull, so what I probably did is I found the sample, you know, it goes like dun, 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 or something in a different time signature entirely, or like different BPM. And then I'm playing it in a sampler on my keyboard, you know, and I'm just like, dun, 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 you know, and then like I just loop that and I figure out, okay, what tempo am I vibing with right now? Get that tempo in the DAW, program the thing I'm playing or whatever, or record it, and that's how it kind of happens, if you're wondering how that stuff works. And then you just kind of build around that. So I'm guessing I must have grabbed a break after that. Let's see what break A sounds like. Really messed with. What about this guy? There we go. This is honestly like a New Jack Swing kind of beat, which you could look into. But like, I think a good example of New Jack Swing, I think honestly, is Poison. That girl is poison. I think that's New Jack Swing, in my opinion. I might be wrong, but that's what this beat reminds me of, and I think it's the style of. That kind of swing, two-steppy. I mean, it's like swinging in, it's not. What else we got? Hi-hat. Kick drum replace. This weird choice to have these kicks on the sides. You can hear them. Snare. This adds a little oomph. Like I had a ride cymbal. Nice. Just going ta 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 ta. That's kind of cool. I guess that's it for that. Let's do the bass line now. So we've got this guy. This thing's so cool. This is the one that goes. It sounds so weird. And then what is this guy? Just a little bass 808 hit. And then this wobble. Which is honestly really dirty. So let's hear how these play together. What's the downbeat? Nice. I forgot about that. See, you can hear I'm like playing with those really old school sounds. Let's put that in there. Let's put in this vocal. What does it say again? Special mix, I think. And then the huh. Huh. Downbeat stab. But without the hook melody, it's so thin. It's cool, but it needs something, you know? What did I do to the rave chord over time? It just goes down to that lower thing. Now I take the rave chord out, and so I have to add something new back in. We've got this weird that's filling up that same frequency space, and then we got this thing. And we got a new bass. Very Turnian. Special mix. I do love this sound that comes in. We gotta have our 90s string. There it is. That's the tune. I also kind of like that it's so short, it just feels like a skit almost. But that's all I wanted to say with that track. That's how short it is. Two more. Waiting and Peace. So let's go to Waiting. I suspect a lot of people will like this one. I've got some more to learn about this because it's super loud. I had to like turn it down. And I'm not exactly sure why. I think it's just because it's like got a smile curve, but it works sometimes. Like the sub bass is really loud and distorted. Then there's a huge gap. And then there's like high 808 drums. So I don't know. You'll maybe hear it, but I love this build up. Bad lead. Vocal. All right, let's look at it. So, skip past some of the intro. Granted, the bum 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 bum. I think that is something when I was writing the song was an idea that it was going to be over here and it got scrapped, but I didn't delete the sound. I ended up finding a space for it and it makes for a unique intro, you know? So sometimes it's good to just like not fully get those stuff out of the DAW, or at least try a failed concept in a different section. I don't know. There's been some interesting storytelling that goes on and progression in these tracks, but I'm trying not to overanalyze it because I want to just experience it and do it and have like the flow state. I don't want to be like, yes, I will do this because this will happen, you know, just vibing it out basically. What I love about this one, let's get it at the right tempo, is this build. I don't know where this came from, but I'm really happy that it happened. So we've got this pad. That's just beautiful. I think it's a modified sample. It's so cool. You can hear it loop bad there. This adds... That's actually what you can hear at the end of the song. What is this guy? Weird. Is that even in key? I guess, yeah. Yeah. I love that. I'm just trying to use all these like jazz chord extensions and stuff just because I find it fascinating. I mostly listen to jazz in my free time, like constantly. So that's where that's coming from. What are these guys? Oh yeah, it's just an echo of this. Just to fill the gap, essentially. A little pitch down action. And then this sad lead, which I really love. I think this is a Citrus preset, maybe? Either that or Contact. Yeah, if I could have more things like this, which there will be, it makes me very happy. And then the vocal just says to the rhythm. It's all just distorted and mangled. Probably the most distorted vocal I've ever used. And then right before the drop, we get this weird thing. Some weird sample I picked up. I don't remember exactly where it's from. Got the blip. It goes up throughout the whole track. What is this guy? Nice, I love using that sound. Let's make like the weirdest version of this song. Oh yeah, this is an Indian guy going like taka-tika taka-tika or something like that, and I forget what that's called. It's a vocalizing Indian rhythmic music style. It's just in there. Put the little snare in there, maybe. Sounds like drum and bass. That sounds so weird without like the anchoring things. There it is. What is this? Yeah. So this I wanted to have more in the song, but so you got this. Like you play this with the kick and the snare and it sounds really sick. I like that sound a lot. So here's another version of the loft dub sample is hiding in this. That's what this high pitch sound is. Like if I slow this down to halftime, maybe you'll hear like, ooh, whoa. Plus an 808 with some white noise distorted together. And then a ring mod, I think, to distort it. I didn't know that sound was in there. But that's just fun. Okay, what does this break sound like? Yeah, that's a ohm unit break, I think, that I like a lot. Very militant, aggressive halftime thing. Felt like there's going to be something else to show off, but I think that's pretty much everything for this. Oh yeah, I've got these things. So these add just extra chord extensions to what's happening here. And then it goes to this one. I could listen to this kind of stuff forever. And I'll answer your question in a second. It's just so nice. Visuals for turn-in. We have a lot of different people, but I, in a pinch, will make stuff. And then I'm being as DIY as I can for Speedtek. So music video is just me strapping a 360 camera to the top of my Subaru and driving from Holland, where I live, Holland, Michigan, to Grand Haven, Michigan. And then starring me, because I get out of my car and I sit in a park bench. And then the album art is a still from that video that I did the graphics on. I'm Adobe free now. So I have Affinity Pro and a Canva Pro license. And then I've got DaVinci Resolve for video and some other things that I all mash together. So I just try to make all my own stuff because I know how to use a lot of digital tools, and it's more satisfying. It's really sick to link up with really talented people, but I really love doing stuff myself. My budget loves doing stuff myself too. Like I I'm not made of a ton of cash, and like turn-in at the end there, we had budget for stuff, and so we would pay people to get stuff made. And like I'll probably end up doing that, and I do that every once in a while. Like my Speedtek logo, I paid someone to make, and I worked with them for like 3 or 4 months to do that. But I don't know. If I could do it, I'll have more fun and I'll have more of a connection to it. There's pros and cons. So I just like doing stuff myself if I can. And we got one more track. DIY. It's just satisfying. Okay, this one is the last track, like the most recent track that made the cut of the album. It's got me singing on it. Yeah, chemistry. Like if you have a chemistry background and you do, video footage and stuff, now you can do like a chemical reaction. Like, I don't know, what's the thing that when you put it in water, it actually burns and like races around the top and stuff like that. And then you could like record it with a rented high-speed camera or do it at like 120 frames per second, and then put ink drops in the water and do all sorts of weird stuff, and then put it in DaVinci Resolve and mangle it. Like that is cool and creative to me versus like hiring someone who like is like, I mean, it's a good thing. Like I get hired to do stuff all the time, but it's like they don't care as much about your project as you do, because no one does, So here's the last track. This one, it just was a vibe, and I just wrote it, and I was like, is this gonna go on the album? It'd be nice. Is it full enough? Is it done enough? Should it be longer? And I sort of just settled on like, I don't know, man, like this is what I want it to be. Little nervous about having my own vocals on it, but like it just felt like a good closer. And the whole, I guess I don't want to explain too much because I don't want to explain too much, but it felt like the album is called July 20th, 2026 because it's where I am right now, and it's who I am right now. And it just felt like energies that wasn't tapped into in the album, but that are very honest and true. And so I was like, I want to put it on there. So it's a little bare bones. Like it's perhaps even undercooked. I don't know, but I like it a lot, and we'll see, what comes out in the future. But let's listen to it for a second. Yeah, literally today. You'll never wonder when it came out.
So what do? How do we find peace?
Okay. It's kind of self-explanatory.
If you're going to come hang out with us today, I think the main things that you're going to get are inner peace, a new sense of gratitude.
Every human being, I believe, is striving for a level of peace.
What are the keys to achieving inner peace?
I love that I can do these kind of melodies and chords. And what I mean by that is not like the capacity. I mean like I'm allowed. This stream's gonna get content ID'd. I'm gonna have to whitelist it. I just realized. That's funny. Okay. So this whole song is just it's just a vibe. I don't know. I just really like it. And I guess the reason I can talk about stuff like that too is because like I'm writing these things pretty fast, and I'm letting the samples tell me what to do. I'm letting the moment and the session tell me what to do. I also have a very forgetful memory. So like when I come back to this stuff, it feels like someone else made it sometimes. And so I can re-experience like, wow, and it's not me like faking it. It's just a bad memory mixed with fast writing. And like, so like the hard part is not writing these things. The hard part is finishing them, So that's like what I teach a lot is like how to finish. But like writing is the joy and it's fun. It's like getting it ready to show and making sure it's club ready and everything's fixed or whatever, and you get all your ideas out. That's the challenge. So we've got one main break that I think served as the backbone. Is it this guy then? No. Oh, probably the one that's called main break. I just like this break a lot. I've got like so many breaks. They're all like the important ones and all the like classics that people have sampled like 10 bajillion times. And I just like this one a lot. Sounds like I put a multiband transient shaper on it. I got this little thing. Adds a little shuffleness to it. Then we got shaker. Not what I expected it to sound like. Snare add. Another snare add. Wow, I added a lot of beef to an already beefy snare. Probably because I did some heavy sidechaining. That's the thing that's going to be a little deceptive. Is like when you sidechain, what it does is you've got an element and you've got another element. So let's say element A, element B. Sidechaining means you put the sidechainer on element A, and every time B makes a noise, it makes A quiet so that B can come through by itself, essentially. So normally you've got like kick drum is B, snare drum is B, and like a bass line or pads or something is A. And so I can sneak stuff in momentarily. So like sometimes my snares and kicks you hear on these stems, you won't necessarily hear in the track because it's been muted automatically by sidechaining. So that's what that is, if you're ever wondering. Here's a kick add. Must have been wanting some clarity. There's a nice like realistic sounding setting down a heavy basket of clothes. It kind of just does that the whole song. It just rolls. I'm pretty sure this break just rolls and rolls and rolls. We've got this nice Reese, of course. Do 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 do. It doesn't develop, I don't think. Nope. This pad, which is really nice. I don't remember what this is, but it's got vinyl crackle baked into it, and it's loud. The vinyl crackle is loud. Hey, Rachie made it. What up? We're going through the last song. You missed my big rant about DIY versus contractors. Long story short, I'm pro both, but if you can DIY, it can be very satisfying. Kyle Reese is so nice. Oof. Yeah. Love it. Now you'll notice I do a lot of this kind of timekeeping stuff. Sounds like they're saying touch it. I think they're saying che, but who knows what they're saying. But that just sort of it sort of keeps time, helps stuff feel like they're rolling along, and it gives it a tonal signature, like a sonic signature that makes you feel like you're in the same song the whole time, essentially. We can listen to these vocals, are pretty funny.
So what do we do? How do we find peace?
This one actually has like bells and stuff.
Every human being, I believe, is striving for a level of peace.
All right, let's play my vocals. We went through like this like gorillaz-y kind of sound, I guess. Oops. Wait, the stream doesn't say test stream, does it? I hope not. Playback wasn't on present. Okay, good. Okay, good. So that's that. I love the chords that are happening on this. It's just non-traditional, in my opinion. Oh. Oh yeah, let's go to the backside of this. So I stopped singing, and so I need to replace that and develop the song somehow. So we've got me singing without any tuning at all, but I really like it. This whole song, I think, is actually out of tune with regards to A440. I think it's flat. The whole thing's flat. So I don't know. People doing double drops might be disappointed because it might sound like trash, but I liked this whole song is like sad, but not necessarily sad. This is sort of like the lane I like to live in, is like melancholy in a way, and there's like beautiful, but there's always like pain or trauma or something behind it. Like it's never just like, I'm elated, I'm so excited. That is me singing. Yep. So I like that, like detuning. This is probably the most detuned thing I've ever released. So you can hear just the vocals here. You can hear my headphone. Which does not sound great, but that's because this is never meant to be heard by itself. It's adding the feeling of people singing. So you get the hiss from a voice and stuff like that. You're getting extra little chord tones. And then that goes on top of this thing. Oh, not that. I mean, yes. It's a mellotron flute. And a lot of these chord tonalities are like not right. But the thing that really makes it, and you can start to hear it go out of tune, is this stuff. Little contact patches of pretty things. Ooh. Oh, it's so pretty. I have them swell. I want to hear what they do. Ugh. That sounds so good. It's sick. Let's put the Reese under there. I guess we did the pad too. That to me sounds so pretty. And this weird sound. Yeah, I don't know. I'm really proud of this album. So I hope you guys like it. Thanks to everybody who tuned in. And if you're here, what up, Jazz Breaks? I'm just about to peace out. So this was just an overview of the stems from my album. But as I was just saying, like, if you're here watching the VOD, thanks for watching and hope you enjoyed it. But I'm going to keep doing this, like not showing off stems or anything, but I'm going to keep potentially writing these like micro albums and things like that. I'm going to see what happens. It's just, I think as an artist, you're on a path, you know? And so I often tell students, they're like, you're so much better than me. It's like, well, like you're farther back on the path, let's say, right? And sometimes people get on like the bullet bill and they zoom past you. I've had a lot of students like zoom past me. I have some like people that I helped out or worked with that are like, you know, world renowned and stuff like that. But so don't worry about that kind of stuff. But like the meta changes, and as you go on your path, things change, energies change, preferences change, inspirations change, and stuff like that. And I've just kind of tapped into a little bit of a fun process right now. And so I'm just going to keep going. Like I got a whole bunch more music and a lot more plans lined up and stuff like this. And I'd love to be able to make things like this, you know, twice a year or something like that amongst my other opportunities and things that I'm up to, you know. So we'll see. I'm working on something potentially for a label that will be like this, only much darker. just because I want the challenge and I think it's a lot of fun and I think it'd be kind of helpful for me and like playing shows and stuff like that. And then I've got about 30 drum and bass tunes I need to finish and all sorts of stuff. So we'll see. But I'm just going to keep going with what's really fun. And like, I guess the last thing I'll say on that is like, we're in this weird AI era. We're in this era that's like really stressful. We're in an era where like, it's hard to be an artist and it's hard to be heard and stuff. So by focusing on doing something where I enjoy the hell out of the process, I could spend 6 months on the process. No one will ever hear it yet, potentially. And if I'm enjoying myself, and then eventually I finish it up and I release it or something, like when I release it, it's yours. It's not mine anymore. Like it's satisfying and watching numbers go up is cool. But like I already had so much fun making this thing. And so I'm going to keep prioritizing that because even if I never make $1 or things go crazy, like I still have that, you know? So there's my little soapbox for right now. It'll be fun to watch this in like 5 years and see if I still feel the same way or see what happens. But yeah. So hopefully you dig it. It's on most streaming services now. I did decide to put it in all the easy to get spaces. It's on Subvert, which is a new like co-op Bandcamp thing. If you've never heard of Subvert, so if you look up Speedtek or Speedtek Tracks or something on Subvert, or go to the link tree in my Instagram, it'll be up there. And then yeah, so I'm committing to starting at least a little radio show. The plan is to do 30-minute mixes essentially, and then put those up kind of like what Turnian Selects was in a way, kinda. So I'm still figuring that out. I'm actually recording that this week, so get ready for that. And then in our Discord, the Turnian Discord, which will be, I think it's always going to stay called Turnian Sound Discord, and we'll just explain to people why. But I'll keep writing music every once in a while. So if you're interested in that, find your way to the Turnian Discord somehow. And maybe I will stream on YouTube some production and stuff like that. We'll see. I've just been finding a lot of like resistance to streaming in a formal way. And so I haven't been doing it essentially. So I'm going to see how I can figure things out. But yeah, that's enough caveating and all that stuff. Thanks for watching and tuning in. And I'm going to peace out for now. But thanks for tuning in. I got to find where my end stream button is. Found it. Bye.